Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Soundproof podcast with myself, Tom Wilson. We've got Jonth, as always, and today we're lucky to have Vosai on the podcast. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, doing good. So throughout the whole episode, you're going to hear us call him Vason because we just know him as that. But his last name's Vosai. He's obviously mainly making trap music, I guess. Would you define yourself as a trap producer?
I would define myself as mainly trap. Yeah,
mainly trap.
Yeah.
So I want to start by talking about the fact that why we call you Vason and why you switch your name to. Because I actually came up with your name, if I remember correctly, Vosai.
Yeah, you helped me at least because I
take complete credit for that. No.
You're gonna take his royalties next.
I think it started out off with something like Vosai or Vosau or something like that, and you were like, you should put I instead of O, and it ended up with being Vosai. But yeah, Vason started off as my like initial project, and that was like mainly future house and future bounce, and I had made a lot of like free FLPs and stuff, and I don't know, when I decided to not make house music anymore as my main genre, I was like, I need to rebrand and start over because I felt like so much was happening.
Yeah,
and it was some way for me to like, I don't know, start off fresh, and I had to start off everything fresh and not just what I made.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people we know did that though, where they started off with house because we all met. Right, the three of us all met in the future of house group, so like the future house music group, and like Jesper would always post his like FLPs in there, shaking his camera, and then Vason would as well, and so would I. And that's how like we all three of us like were the first three people from like the booth as such to meet from there, and we'd like Skype and stuff. But like everyone, we were all making house, and then I think a few of us were like, nah, fuck this, we can't do house, and we slowly transitioned to like the trap stuff. And as you said, you decided to rebrand with that. I stuck with my generic ass name, Tom Wilson.
No, I just wanted to mention that I think Vason is the guy that I knew before you. So Vason is probably the oldest friend of mine in our social circle, actually. And then I got to know you.
And then you introduced me to Vason.
Yeah. I think that's how it was.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we all made terrible future bounce music together.
Speak for yourself. My future bounce was banging.
I'm pretty happy I decided to not go that way.
Yeah, same. Well, the thing is, I've seen you doing this as well, Vason, like slowly moving back towards house, and this is the thing. I feel like we've learned a lot through making trap that we wouldn't have learned if we stayed doing the same house stuff, and then we've applied what we've learned to house stuff. So you released some Riotville, didn't you? You released a house tune there.
Yeah. So I mean, as I've like made trap. Now I'm obviously into the bit more harder trap. That's what I've been making, like hard melodic trap. And that's actually transitioned into bass house really well when I've tried to make something. Like, obviously, I still don't feel like 100% in making it. And like, it's not the same level as some of the trap I've been producing. But it's still transitioned into it really well. And I feel like I've like kind of found my own thing in house as well, which is like really, really cool in my opinion to see that I'm not just improving in the style, I'm actually like mainly creating.
Because a big element of your sound, I'd say, is your like the sound design you use for your basses. But like with the house stuff, it's like very much the leads you made for the like the bass house stuff. So but yeah, I kind of want to get back to like how everything started with the trap stuff. So like both me and Vason initially were involved quite heavily in the VXI collective. Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
And so this was like a SoundCloud page that David had made back then. I won't say his full name because he'll be like, "Oh, you're exposing me," and he probably gets enough messages already. But he's currently running the Trap Nation channel now, and this is how a lot of us got into Trap Nation initially was by making remixes on this VXI page. So like, talk about from your side how that came about, how you got on there as such.
Well, yeah. I mean, we all started with this. Like, I remember us like feeling a bit starstruck when we were like suddenly in contact with the people that actually had like direct contact to Trap Nation.
Yeah.
And we were like, wait, we actually have a chance of getting on Trap Nation. And that was like really huge for us back then, you know? I mean, obviously it's still a really big thing to get on there, and it's really good promotion. But like back then, with I think 0 releases from my side, it was like, holy shit, this might actually like go somewhere. Sorry.
This was huge as well, because this was right before like Article 13 and before the YouTube algorithm got changed. As well. Exactly. So Trap Nation was massive back here as well. So like it's not like getting an upload there now is bad or anything. It was just really huge back then to get a Trap Nation upload.
But all these remixes were popping off back then. So you made the right remix of the right song at the right time, and it did 1 million streams on YouTube easy. Then you know what I mean. And to all of us, that was just insane. You know, being associated with, also just like as you say, being associated with Trap Nation when you've done nothing notable to that point. You've just been making music. It feels like a huge step forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
So what was your first upload on Trap Nation?
My first upload on Trap Nation was actually an official remix of Lado's song "Little Poor Me."
Oh yeah, that's still your biggest song on Spotify, isn't it? Yeah,
it really fucking took off, to say the least. But yeah, that was a really cool and actually a really huge learning process for me, both regarding the industry and how it works, and also like production wise, because they had a lot of like at the time. Obviously, I've improved in like an insane amount since then, production wise. But like at the time, it was a really big job for me, and it took a lot of different versions and tries to get it to a point where they were satisfied with it.
I remember you sending it to us and we kept feedbacking like newer versions. You had like 20 versions or something.
I think I ended up on like almost 37 different versions with 800 different drops, man. It's like
and this just proves how like the switch from house to trap was probably the best thing that you could have done at the time. Honestly,
for sure, yeah.
And I also feel like the moment you switched over to trap, the quality of your music just increased by like a dozen times, like in an instant. It was so sick to see. It was like your calling. Like everything just fell into place when you moved into trap as well.
So you also released a trap song on Riotville, didn't you? Before?
Yeah, I released Free Fall on Riotville as well,
which also got on Trap Nation as well. As I saw,
that's really dope. Cool. So at least two releases on Riotville. Like how did you manage to get on Riotville that way?
So Riotville actually contacted me on SoundCloud or email. I'm actually not sure. No, email. Sorry. They followed me on SoundCloud and contacted me on email and asked if they had anything that I wanted to release with them. And at the time, I actually didn't have anything. So I was like, well, I'm going to come up with something for you guys, because I really wanted to branch out also in Denmark.
Yeah.
Because the electronic scene here isn't that big. We have a few big guys that, in the scene here. And one of them is Snaus, obviously, that has Riotville. I wanted to branch out.
That's his imprint, right? Riotville. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I wanted to be like, wait, this is actually, there might be a good way to get into the Danish scene, you know? And obviously get to meet up with these guys and connect, you know?
Yeah.
So that I started off with making Free Fall for them. And luckily it also got on Trap Nation and got supported by a lot of bigger playlists, which really helped with it. And then afterwards I obviously made Rasengan, which was so like, yeah, Riotville has this sound. It's like a dark sound of it, like I don't know how to explain it. It's like this dark electronic sound with like Cage and all these guys starting out here. And I felt Rasengan and Freefall really stuck to that vibe, and that's why I actually signed them there.
Yeah, and also knowing you personally, that's kind of the sound that you've been trying to go for a long time as well. So I feel like the songs that you made just fit perfectly for that label.
I would define your sound as dark, edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying earlier that this would probably lead to an opportunity where you could connect with these people, and you actually managed to connect with these people as well, like Snavs as well, right?
Yeah, I so after Rasengan was released, actually I think it was on the day of the release. I went to Riotville Studios in Copenhagen and met up with Snavs and Søren, which is Snavs' manager. And we just chilled and drank some beers and talked music and showed each other some songs, which was really cool, really fun.
That's really sick.
So collab coming soon? ?
Well, we'll see about that. I haven't actually talk to him about that. But I mean, obviously that would be really cool.
Did you not just go into the studio and be like, all right, let's make a track?
I would have done that in a heartbeat. Like I would just open up, you know what? I could just make something, just wink and casually.
Hey, I just had this project open on my laptop. Do you want to?
That's for sure what I would have done at least.
That would have been a good approach, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Next, mate, save that for next time.
Next time. But yeah, mostly it's just like obviously it's I want to just like start out getting known into the whole thing here, get to know all the people in the industry, and hopefully get some live support. Maybe get to play some places in Denmark where there's actually electronic music.
Yeah.
Isn't Fabian Mazur also from Denmark?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So have you tried to reach out to him?
Well, I've actually met him twice, I think now. So like social events in Copenhagen. He's a really, really cool guy. Really chill, down to earth guy. He's really positive vibe, you know.
That's sick. He's living the fucking cool dream as well, man. Like he's fully like supported, like sustaining himself with music as well, right? Because he released all these sample packs and everything. He's got a huge house and everything, right? Like that is the dream, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's living a bit outside of Copenhagen in like a summer house. It's like a smaller house, you know, but he's made it into this like really cool house.
Yeah.
Which, it's just like, it's so sick.
Yeah.
It looks really sick.
But you only do part-time music, right? Or, well, knowing you personally, again, you just left your, like, was it like full-time work or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's been kind of weird with my music, because what happened was that after I was done with taking my A-levels, and here in Denmark, it's a bit different, the educational system, than other countries. It's the same in Sweden, actually. But different to the rest of the world, at least. So when I was done, I was like, well, I'm going to take some 3 years and just focus on music 100%. But what quickly happened was that I wasn't getting out much and not getting a lot of inspiration, and it kind of got to a point where I was stuck. I wasn't really making anything, you know.
Is this partly down? Is this partly down to lockdown though? Because if we didn't have Corona and you were still not doing, you were still doing music full time and not working, sorry, you'd probably be okay. Would you? Or
I'm not. I wouldn't say that actually, because what happened was that I would wake up, not do anything, not meet up with anyone, just sit and game, and and maybe open FL for like a couple minutes, and it would be really draining for me. I don't know why, but it was just like I would open the project and it would be really, really draining energy-wise, and I wouldn't have like any inspiration to actually create anything.
Yeah, because I feel like compared to a lot of people we know, you collab a lot less. Like you like to do stuff on your own a lot more. Because what I found during lockdown especially was I found a way to make myself make music but still enjoy doing it, and I used to really struggle with that. So I had the same thing you had. If I didn't get out, I would struggle, but I kind of found a way to force myself to start an idea, and even if I don't like it, like I've still made something good. And I feel like if you carry on making ideas, even if they're shit, you kind of feel a bit better about yourself because you feel like you're doing something productive. But a lot of what's helped a lot for me personally is like starting being more collaborative even on my solo projects. So if I need help with someone, I will just ask like I'll just ask someone for help if I can't finish something, and I'll just say, can you just help me finish this off, sort of thing, because most of the guys will do that. Whereas I feel like with you, you're very stubborn and you like to like finish it completely yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because I don't know, I'm like it's so easy for me to lose interest in a project. Like it can be the smallest thing, and if that happens, the project is dead for me personally. It's so weird.
No, I know, I know exactly what you mean, though. I know exactly what you're talking about. I usually have the same thing, but nowadays I finish a lot less projects than what I start. But it's kind of like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but it has kind of to do with the attention span as well. Like at least for me, like I need to be engaged, but the best way for me to actually finish a song is to finish the whole arrangement in less than a day. Like if I don't do that, the song is probably not good enough for me, you know?
Yeah, that's actually a fun fact. Like I think 90% of the songs I've actually released has been like stuff that's been done in one day, actually.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, because the most fun thing at the end of the day is making the drop. Like always, I feel like the most fun part of the song is the drop. And then sometimes when you're like, oh shit, I got to make a break now, you get a bit demotivated because you're like, what do I do? What do I do?
That's why I try to do things differently almost every time now. I just finished a song, a drum and bass song, which I actually genuinely think this might be the first drum and bass song that I release, because it's kind of poppy and it kind of fits my vibe.
Time.
Yeah, right. And I sung, I recorded, I wrote lyrics, I did all that before I even started the drop, and I don't ever do that, like at all. And usually, every time I've done that before, it's just never worked. But again, like Tom said before, like I kind of forced myself to do it, and after a while, something just clicked, and I just made it, you know. And I don't know. I feel like there is always a way to find your creativity. You just gotta figure it out, you know. But then again, if you're working on a project that isn't as inspiring, you're not going to finish it. And
I want to relate back to like what we said before about like leaving projects for ages. Because me and Vason recently started a new collab, right? And he had this idea on his SoundCloud, super sick drop idea. It's from 11 months ago, right? He sent it over to me in like a day or two. I like basically get it to a pretty decent level, and we sent it back and forth a few times. It's like I don't understand how like you left it as such, because it was such a sick idea, but it was just like I think you just needed someone else to like push it forward a bit so more ideas would click for you. So like I think that's a thing most people should maybe think about. If you're struggling with something, don't necessarily collaborate with someone, just ask for help. Like honestly, like because like
that's how they do it on the top. They co-write on the top.
There's like 7 people on there's like 7 people on most of these big tracks.
That's actually what I wanted to get to with like me having this like after my music break and all this stuff. Like the whole thing, like for me, when I was supposed to make all this music in my 3 years after school, I was like, wait, this isn't working out. Because what happened was me trying to satisfy labels, going for the biggest releases on labels such as NCS or Lowly or whatever. Me like just trying to like make music for the sake of like getting big and stuff. And it wasn't really, I wasn't really like enjoying making music at the time. So it's like, wait, I'm actually going to take the decision now to take a break like from music, like completely, and just focus on like what I found entertaining for myself, and like try to just take a step back and find out what I wanted to do in life, you know?
Yeah.
So what happened after that is that I took a full-time job just to earn a lot of money, you know? So, because I'm planning on actually moving out and stuff from home. I'm still in home at my mom and dad's house. So yeah, that was like, wait, this is gonna be my priority right now. And recently I've refound the interest in music a lot. Like during while I had my full-time job, I found my interest for music again, and I started making music for my own sake.
Yes,
and
that's the biggest part of it is I think having fun with it. I think if you're not having fun with it and you're just doing it to get something, this is personally why I don't make ghost productions for people. And I know Jasper does it, but like I personally don't do ghosts because I feel like I just don't enjoy it enough, and I just force myself to do it.
Oh no, trust me, it is exhausting to make ghost productions.
Yeah,
because
I've actually tried making ghosts, and that's the exact problem with that. Like that's what I've been seeing. Even now, when I try to make a ghost production now, I see the same problem that I had back then.
Yeah,
with me not like being like getting really exhausted from just sitting in a program, you know.
Yeah,
like.
Because the best.
I actually know for a fact, because I'm going to expose you here. You actually outsourced a ghost production to me once, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because you just couldn't get yourself to do it. So I just did it, and then we split the money. So
I low key outsourced a production to you. It wasn't a ghost, but the Ghostbusters thing.
yeah, but that was for uni work. It wasn't really for the Tom Wilson project.
Yeah.
Vason, you said earlier as well that you were kind of making music to satisfy the labels as well, right? And I feel like I kind of did that for a while as well, and so many people that I know have tried to make music just to get on these different labels. And something that I've come to realize lately is that labels don't even like when you do that. They want you, and everybody wants you to make music for you at the end of the day.
Can I talk about something interesting then to do with this, which I've thought about recently? So everyone starts off when you're at your low level stage when you're starting. Everyone starts off trying to copy someone to get good at making music, right? You get to this middle ground that I'd say we're in now, and you're making something unique. And you're releasing on like these mid-sized labels, like more independent labels. I think when you get to this top level, a lot of people end up going back to those more commercial sounds, but then the stuff that they've made during the middle ground, they influence that more commercial sound with. Yes. So I think you go full loop a lot of the time just to get to that place, but it's partly the networking. So I've been thinking like recently I've been making so much house music again, and it's like it's not just because I want to like release that stuff to get bigger. I've just been enjoying it as well, but I see a path of making house music as well as trap music and pop music and everything. Like I feel like all this stuff will help get to this like higher place, because it's so weird the way the industry works in that sense. You know what I mean?
So no, sorry, go on.
So I was kind of leading on to something completely different, but like I could do that if you want. It's fine.
No, go on, Vason.
It was just the fact, like, just to lead on what Tom said, is that I think doing all these different genres also really helps you. Like, personally, I love making all kinds of different music, you know? So, like, that's
an inside joke for everyone
inside joke, sorry. But making all kinds of music that, like, all kinds of genres and stuff, such as trap, rhythm, drum and bass, pop, house, everything. And I just love, like, making all these kind of different music. What I've been having a problem with is actually I'm kind of scared of releasing all this different music.
Same. I'm exactly the same.
I have really solid ideas for, like, in terms of like the genre and stuff, but how do I make that stuff make sense compared to the rest of the stuff I've released?
But I feel you're sitting in the same boat as me. Like, I've been showing people my drum and bass and my dubstep and all this like really bass heavy and like other EDM kind of genres to other people, and they all say like, yeah, this still sounds like you. It wouldn't be weird if you release it. And I feel like you are exactly the same, because I can hear whenever you show me a song, like I can hear instantly that it's you, even if it's neurofunk or if it's rhythm or anything that you show me. So I feel like it wouldn't be strange if you did it either. You could probably do it anyway. You
know? Yeah. I just think it's a matter of me actually finding a middle ground for me pushing my own sound in other genres. You know?
This is the thing, though. I think with all of us, we have this idea in our head. Like I was like this as well, where you have to only push this one sound that you're making because that's who you are as a person. Whereas, like when you're with being an artist, it's so much like at our level. Like we're not established enough to be like we have to make this sound. Like even at the top, everyone makes 100 different sounds, you know what I mean? So it's like, as long as you can still hear it's you, which like I think when any of us make music, because of the way we produce, you can still hear it. I don't think it matters. Like this is why you can go to any genre and it translates well. Like the heavier stuff you showed us, Vason, can still tell it's you because of the way you sound design. And Jesper has his like melodies which go over like 5 octaves and have slides.
Doesn't even have to be melodies, man. It could be bass rhythms. It could be anything.
Always, you can. It's so weird with Jesper because like no matter what he makes, and even when he sound designs, it always ends up sounding like it has this I don't know. Even if it's like really heavy bass sounds, it sounds like it has this vocal chop in it. that just sounds like Jesper. It's so weird.
Sound,
almost.
Yeah, it's the Valley Jesper sound. It's like a Jonth sound.
Well, this was a meme a little bit ago when you send Jesper something, he just Jonthifies it. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I remember like way back when you were struggling to write melodies, like because you haven't been making music for a long time. So back then, like when we got to know each other, you've only been making music for a couple months. So I was trying to help you out to write some melodies and all that. And then some of the other guys found out and they were like, oh, Mason's ghost produced by Jonth. And I was like, nah, dude, I didn't write it. I just like gave him a couple like tips and shit. And
it was like making the melody, but you could like instantly hear it was This
is the thing. I would be scared now to ask Jesper to help with a melody because it would just sound like him.
Exactly. Like you literally, like even with the chord progression and all that, it would instantly sound like Jesper.
I wrote a chord progression the other day in FL. I sat down and wrote a chord progression like, shit, this is Jesper's chord progression. just deleted it straight away.
But that's actually something, Vason, that I feel like you also have. You have unique like chord progressions to you, even if it's like not unique per se chord progressions. It is chord progressions that has been written before. Like so is any chord progression.
But, obviously.
But you have a certain style and a certain vibe to the chord progressions that you write as well. So and you can apply that to any genre. Anywhere.
Yeah, I remember we were sitting on the Discord the other day, and you were like searching through Splice, and you found this chord progression. You're like, "Oh shit, this is like really your vibe." Basically.
Yeah. And I sent you the sample. Me. Yeah. Have you made anything with that?
I was like, well, I made like some drum and bass stuff, but it actually never went anywhere.
Oh, you got to work with that though. Like it's such a like Vosai kind of chord progression that like I won't even touch it because that's so you know what I mean? So, but this is so funny that this topic always comes up because I don't know. Like lately, I've kind of started feeling like this whole idea of not being able to produce too many genres is some kind of like idea that was pushed years ago. You know, like who says that applies now? Times change,
but it's all still in the back of our heads that like to be successful you need to do one genre, whereas that's just not the case. I think we all think that just because of the way we've seen the people the people that we've seen come up have stayed with one genre as such. But I think stuff is a lot more diverse now. You've got everyone making bloody slap house, and like you can easily separate yourself still and make 100 different genres. You know what I mean? And I think the person that opened my eyes to that most initially was Ewan when Ewan joined our group. That's Magnus, and he started talking about it, and he was like, "Well, it doesn't matter," but like it does make complete and utter sense. Like, why wouldn't you branch out. If you can do it well, why wouldn't you branch out as far as you can as such? Because different genres open different opportunities at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these independent labels are very genre specific. So like, for example, this is a good lead on because we need to talk about your latest release. NCS, they like this very electronic sound, don't they? And the minute you try and do something more chill most of the time, it's not for them. So again, branching out, you could release somewhere else. But Young, Wild and Free. Young and Wild and Free. Sorry.
Young and Wild and Free.
Go on, talk about that release. How did that end up the way it is? Because the sound design on that is again super unique and super Vosai.
Yeah. So that was actually a really fun story. That was still while I had my job. It was right in the start of me like refinding my interest in music. I had this idea in my head that was like just beatboxing it for myself, you know. And I actually decided to go into FL and just like record me beatboxing the melody of the track.
Can you show this after?
Yeah, exactly. And I started just like building on top of this loop of me beatboxing, getting all the elements down, and it just like it sounded really solid like already from the start. And I remember like one of the guys joking about a hardstyle kick as an initial hit, and I tried that and it worked insanely well for this exact track. And I just kept on like building onto the track, and I decided to also use me beatboxing with vocal synth on top. So that's like a
wait, you're beatboxing in the actual track?
Yep. So it's a part of the.
Cool.
Why didn't you do? You should have done a project breakdown. You know the ones they do. You should do a project breakdown and like show these layers. I want to see this layer with this vocal synth beatbox.
I actually thought about it with the Young, Wild and Free. I'm not much for recording myself, producing and stuff, because I don't know why. It's just like I really like keeping the It's not like being selfish or anything. It's just I like keeping my process to myself. But I actually really thought about it for Young, Wild and Free because I thought it was so cool and different from what I usually try to do while producing. And yeah, I don't know why I actually didn't do it. I can still obviously do it.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. But
comment below if you want to see that. And then go and nag Vason anywhere.
Yeah.
On Instagram or something.
I guess I'll think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm falling way back to this like different genres kind of thing because there's still one thing that we haven't touched on that I don't know if Tom knows too much about, but I know because I actually sampled one of these from you the other day. You do a little bit of like you have a secret project, right? Or can you talk about that? Do you want to talk about that, like your indie stuff?
I guess I can hint it a bit because I've like obviously I don't listen to a lot of electronic music in my everyday life outside of producing. I do occasionally listen to it, but being like producing it and being in the scene, I feel like you kind of tend to like find inspiration and want like have a need of listening to different types of music than the one you're actually producing.
Yeah, same.
So I've been listening to like a lot of indie and old school rap and all these kind of like different genres, minimal electronic music, basically, which I've really like been inspired by, and I've tried to make my own project actually, which is what I'm trying.
That's going into highlights right there. That is fucking highlight.
That's staying in. That's too fun. Okay, so for anyone that wasn't watching, Vason's mic literally just fell off his stand into his lap. So we can't remember what we were actually talking about. So yeah. So if you're listening on the podcast, on like Spotify or SoundCloud or something, definitely go and watch on YouTube so you can see how funny that was. But yeah, okay.
I kind of remember what he was talking about. So we were talking about his like secret indie project, and you were talking about what like trying to. You were listening to other sources of inspiration. That's something that I do as well. Like a lot, I listen, especially for inspiration for EDM. I try to listen to other genres. I barely listen to EDM myself anymore. I just do it like professionally to try and get inspiration these days. Sorry, what were you saying then?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been trying to start on my own project. It's really like really early, obviously, really early stage. So I'm not gonna be releasing anything for a while. I think maybe if I get it to work. But yeah, that's just something I've been working on the side, trying to figure out where to go with that, you know?
Yeah. I've heard those tunes though. Like they are really solid. Like they sound like they're really high quality. And like I said before, like for anyone listening right now, like I remember this is a funny story. So me and Vason were sitting on Discord, and he showed me one of these projects that was like an indie song, and I thought the intro was really cool as well. And then I started doing like a lo-fi hip hop beat because I told him to enable download, so I downloaded it and chopped it up a little bit and made like a lo-fi hip hop beat. And then Ewan Magnus came on and was like watching my stream, and he was like, "Oh, what's this? This is really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I sampled Vason's song," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I want to sing on this." So then he made a song out of the song that I sampled out of Vason's song as well.
It was so dumb, man. I was like sitting there, like missing vocals on like 80% of my tracks, and one of my songs had just been like sampled, and it already had a vocal,
like I was Kanye West or some shit.
It was so dumb, man.
Yeah, man, it's funny though.
Really funny though.
But you should definitely keep doing this indie thing as well, because there's something really, I don't know, unique about it. It doesn't sound like, well, it almost a little bit like some things that I've heard before, but it like at its core, I don't feel like I've heard anything like this before. And with vocals, it's gonna sound really sick as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Wait, is Vason getting Ewan's vocals for that?
No, I'm getting Ewan's vocals because I sampled.
But then it's a collab with Vason now because you sampled Vason.
He's getting writing credits. So I'm not gonna be in the title. We're all getting writing credits though. That's the thing.
Wow. Yeah, but me and Ewan has been talking about him actually hopping on one of the indie tracks. So yeah.
That's gonna be really.
That might
cool,
actually happen.
It's gonna be really cool though. It's so interesting because I like after a while. I don't know if everybody does this, but after a while, people who make music, like who were stuck on like one genre, pretty much always start like leaning into all these different genres and trying to understand music as a whole, rather than to just do their EDM thing.
Yeah,
right?
The good thing with that though is you start using samples and techniques and stuff from different genres. So things you do for one genre, you think, oh shit, that's a cool sample or a cool technique, and then you just start using that in what you'd say your core sound is. So you learn more about how to like apply it in your main sound. Like for example, with the trap stuff, like if I hadn't have made house before, I wouldn't have mixed trap in the way I did. I would have tried to mix it like way too like this, this like festival trap stuff. I probably tried to go into it mixing it more like that. Whereas I feel like with house, you get more of this like more like technical side of it because of the way it is. Do you know what I mean? Like with the techniques that you use.
Yeah, but not only that, it's almost like when you try to, let's say when you sound design, you almost especially in like deep house and house, slap house and all these genres, you almost want to have it sound super clean and super nice right from the beginning, right from the get-go, and then you just mix it like additively. But something that I've started doing recently that I feel really creates an organic touch to it is that when I sound design, I tend to bounce it out and I screw up the audio and like make it sound really bad, and I just do everything I can to screw up the sound as much as possible.
Working with audio is so underrated in my opinion.
And then what I do is I try to make it sound way cleaner. It's kind of the punk rock mentality to it, you know, and how they did with rock music back in or they've been using this technique since the dawn of music, pretty much. Just making something sound trashy and shit, and then making it sound good afterwards.
That's actually like one of the techniques I use a lot. I really enjoy post-processing in general, and like what I usually do or often do and play around with. Obviously, it doesn't always work because it's a really experimental way of working. It's like, oh, this actually sounds cool. I might use this, and it ends up not working out, or maybe it does, and it can be like a not high risk, I guess, but like high reward thing for if you actually do it correctly. So it's like,
I would completely agree with you in the sense of like a lot of the sound design that I know that I've personally done as well has come from the post processing. Like it's something I'm learning more now, but I'm not great at sound design. I would say that's one of my weaker points, but being able to take a sound and fuck it up in the post processing can really, if that works for you, if you understand how to manipulate a sound, as you're saying, like that can be a super cool thing with sound. This is why downloading so many plugins is so good as well, because even if you don't know what something does, you like happy accidents happen so much with post processing. I feel like in a way that doesn't happen as much with like normal sound design, if you get me.
So like, I mean, obviously I'm not as good as Jesper in any way at sound designing, but like the way I find my most unique sounds coming from is like me making this kinda cool sound in some VST or synthesizer, and then afterwards going in, like exporting it out and maybe even distorting the shit out of it, and then exporting it again and doing more distortion to it, or like just, I mean, fucking it up to the point where you literally can't even hear what it came from.
Yeah.
But still, it's important to have a good solid bass sound, like the sound you start off with, because I mean, it's still in the end is what's gonna be like the reason why it sounds like it does.
There's certain sounds, especially with those genres though, that you can just reuse. So like subs and 808s and stuff, like you can stick to broadly the same thing. The stuff you're trying to make unique more than less is the top lead elements. So you can, because I find myself defaulting to using the same sort of bass sounds and like subs and like the same couple of kicks that I always like to use. And maybe layering the top kicks differently.
I used to bash you so much for using the same chord presets every time, and you said that you didn't, but they ended up, it was ages ago, but they ended up sounding the same almost, because you had the same process. And now after a while, you've kind of started like getting to this point where every song like sounds way more unique now.
Do you want to know something funny? I use the same saw chord preset for every song. It's just a layer. It's just like I have this really weird processing of just mashing it with audio from like Splice or something to make that sound unique, and then just processing it in a weird way. But all my tracks have the same foundation. Like some of the newer stuff now, I'm just like not using saw chords at all, which I'm released, because I'm just like nah, let's just make something a little bit different. You know what I mean? But that was my process for ages, was just like mashing stuff up with that. I feel like you have a pretty similar thing with that as well. Like Vason, you use a pretty similar bass and like chord sort of sound in a lot of your songs.
Yeah, I try to mix it up a bit, but it always ends up being like the same in the sense that it's like a really hard saw bass or something like that. That obviously I love mixing it differently and mixing it with different elements, so it like you can't hear that it's the exact same bass, and it always ends up having a different sound, especially because like all sounds sound different in different keys. So if you're not writing in the same key, the bass will also sound different in that sense.
I
feel
sorry, I just wanted to say, like, I've been holding on to this one for a while, but I have a really cool trick that I think you guys haven't tried it either. Maybe you have, but I think if you haven't tried it, you should. So something that I've been doing in a couple songs recently that I've been making is that I've made this sound, and I've laid out the melody or whatever it's going to be, and then I have either thrown it down an octave, bounced it out, or thrown it up an octave and bounced it out. And then with the audio, I pitch it back to the original like octave, and use different kinds of pitch algorithms to kind of destroy the sound a little bit. And it creates a really cool organic effect as well. And then you can process that in post as well. Something that sounds really cool with the Future Bass chords. I've done that before as well. It sounds super cool in Future Bass, and it sounds really cool with leads.
FL's pitching algorithm is horrible.
Yes,
so
but that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea of it. Because so it sounds really crunchy almost. And if you use the stretch function, it's gonna sound different as well. They have many pitch algorithms, and they all sound a little bit differently. And if you compress that, and if you distort it, it's gonna become even more clear how different the pitch algorithms are. So that's something that you could try, and that's something that you guys who are listening could also try if you're producers. But yeah, we've been talking about sound designing, and we've been talking about like all this for so long, and now I feel like we've been falling back to it a little bit. I think maybe it's time we switch it up a little bit, right?
I think we need to, like, we've been talking for like nearly 50 minutes already, dude. So I think we need to talk about like I don't think new music, well, it's not Friday, so we can't do new music Friday today. But what we can do is let's say what's like the favorite song that's been released this year for you so far. Yeah. So Vosai, go on, you go first.
So yeah, I have a couple songs actually, but like the newest one, I guess, is the newest one that's been released is Patchwork by Suburban and 2 Feet.
Oh yeah, that was just released, right?
Like,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just been released. I really like this like really dark like sound that Suburban actually is pushing. He has this like whole, and even made a song that's like obviously about him killing himself. Obviously, like that's the lyrics, but I mean, that obviously that's not the point of it. But you know that it's this like really dark vibe, and I really enjoy that. Obviously, me coming from making really edgy dark music.
The tonality really of like his voice is insane. Like the way he like. Have you seen the way like he extends his neck to like get that sound?
I saw the way he actually records vocals. It's like he stretches out his neck and like he starts whispering like this, which is like a really
wasn't that a video on TikTok like that he showed that?
Yeah,
right?
It was. And if anyone actually wants to, I think that would be a really good tip for viewers, is that if they want to start like experiencing with their own vocals, they should definitely try and look him up if they find inspiration in him, and see how he actually does it. Because I tried afterwards.
He did it in a Genius video as well. That's where I saw it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it's a really really interesting strategy, I guess, or technique. And I even tried it as well, and got a half decent result from it. Obviously, because I'm not a singer. But definitely something to check out.
Auto-tune works.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what's yours, Jasper?
Now it's kind of embarrassing. I can't remember if this got released last year or this year, but I'm pretty sure it got released this year. So Saint Punk, what's the name of the song? Empty Bed. It's so cool. It has almost like a brassy kind of bass lead to it. And it was released on Monster Cat. So I'm surprised you haven't heard it, Tom, because you told me before that you haven't heard this song. It's such a cool song.
I haven't really heard Saint Punk before.
Saint Punk is really sick.
No, me neither. I actually haven't heard about him.
How have you guys not heard Saint Punk? Both of you should have heard Saint Punk. He's so cool. He's so cool. Anyway, Tom, how about you?
So mine is a little bit yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit of a simp for Fox Stevenson, if you didn't know that.
We all are.
I think we all are. But yeah, his remix of Coven, yes, that song is insane. Like, it's got the sort of energy that I absolutely love in Fox Stevenson songs. But yeah, I don't know much to say about it. It's just your classic like drum and bass Fox Stevenson song. Personally, I prefer it to the original song as well. Which, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of Coven stuff, but like this just elevate. Like, it was a house song, and I feel like the vocals worked so much better as as a high energy like drum and bass song. So yeah,
but it's like I said,
Fox
I said on camera last week when we were having the podcast recording with Mo. We were talking about Fox Stevenson off camera, and I remember saying that there are a lot of producers and a lot of artists that like I could talk to just like you and me, and it wouldn't be weird. And then there's Fox Stevenson, because I really simp for Fox Stevenson. You know, like he is.
Yeah, same.
On another level, he's something else, and I just can't figure him out. You know,
that's something I've been doing for a while now. Especially here in lockdown, is watch his production streams, like the VODs of that. And I swear to God, I've never learned more technical stuff than actually watching him produce. He's not human, man. I swear. He did that thing.
He did that thing where he did like 8 songs in 8 hours as well.
So
did you see that?
It's insane.
And they were all like high, like they were all better than most of the stuff I could make in a day.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's like watching him trash or like throw out ideas that were just like insane. It's like it hurts me, but like you still learn so much from watching him produce. So if you guys haven't done that, like I can definitely recommend. It doesn't even matter what genre you make. You could be making rock music. You could be making like fucking any EDM music. You could be making anything, and there's still inspiration in that guy. It's also because he's insanely good at mixing, and he has some different approaches to a lot of ways of sidechaining and limiting, and he does weird things with his kicks where he makes them like just like really like red line, so they somehow like peak, and I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
It's like side chaining with a limiter almost.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really cool way of seeing him doing this all kind of different approaches to mixing,
and he also actually changed his name and started over at one point. What was his last alias? It was like Stan SB.
Stan SB.
Yeah.
Stan SB. And even back then, I wasn't actually producing back then, but my brother was listening to Stan SB at the time, and he showed me the songs, and I was like listening a lot to some of Stan SB at the time, and I didn't actually know that Fox Stevenson was Stan SB till like long after. It was so weird.
Anyway, is there anything you would like to plug before we go, Vason? I'm sure there's no. I mean, I'd like to plug something for both of us, even though it's going to be months and months. We have a track, and we will finish it.
You to do something.
We will finish it.
Me actually saying this on here will hopefully force us to release it. So
yeah, I guess I can. I mean, just a lot of music is coming. I have a lot of almost finished tracks with my with you obviously and other guys as well, and myself, singles as well. So yeah, just be ready.
And of course, also people should make sure that they follow you on Instagram, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever, all that stuff. We're gonna leave all those links below.
Jasper's doing your job for you now. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm getting used to this now,
yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for watching, everyone. If there's any artists you want to see, as always, put them down below in the comments. Also tell us below anything you want us to talk about in the next episode. Appreciate you coming on and spending an hour of your time talking shit with us, as always, Vason. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Peace.
See you, man.